All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the English coverage of the Beyond the Series Summit EU. Very excited to bring you this cast. I'm AnneeDroid, being joined once again by Mad Kings, and we are casting a best of two between Yellow Submarine and Escape. Yellow Submarine are going to be dire this time. Their captain has to step out for a little bit, so they can't put the team name in. Dota bugs, am I right? Either way, gonna be a fantastic series here. Mad Kings, what do you make of this?
Well, both teams have actually not been playing that many games in the last couple of weeks, but Escape Gaming, you know them from before. They are still a very, very good team. They have all the players here, and as far as I know, Yellow Submarines, they have a small few changes to their roster, and with the captain not being here apparently as well, I guess it's never a good sign that you don't have all your players at least. And apart from that, we can't really say much about the two teams right now because I imagine both of them have been boot camping a little bit lately, so. We'll see if they have something fancy to show us. So far, we do have Escape going for the Coddle plus Void. Not something, well, pretty much standard for Escape Gaming, I would say. Sindan loves the Coddle and faces
their
Void.
Coddle.
Yeah, they love it, man.
Stands ready.
All right, now Sven picked up. We haven't seen that hero yet today, and in fact, in the last couple of weeks, he's been sleeping. He takes a lot of farm to really come online. He's big, he hits hard, but maybe not as efficient as some of the other cores we've seen picked up. So Escape, they're going to have to deal with that Sven. What's their best chance at doing that?
I'm just thinking if they're trying to do something cheesy because Sven is a second pick. I mean, unless you really just have like huge faith in the safe lane Sven player, then it feels a little bit weird. Could be a support Sven as well, something that has been experimented with in the past, but as a core hero, it doesn't look that great already. I mean, you have a Void with a Chrono, you have a Coddle who's going to be super annoying before he gets a BKB with a Blinding Light as well as the Mana Leak, so I'm interested in the Sven pick.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to be there to support him. Obviously, the Earth Spirit, most likely going to be roaming around, not really committed to a lane, probably spending a bit of time in the mid. If they want to go for something, ultra supporty, like a Crystal Maiden or a Dazzle, Oracle is still available to keep this Sven safe. It's an option. Oh gosh, I love this Elder Titan pickup for Escape, though. It's going to scale so well, and that natural order is going to do so much work against the Sven in that late game.
Yeah, the ET is great in this game. You take away the armor from the Sven, it has great synergy with the Faceless Void. You can set up for the Chronosphere with the Stomp or the other way around, and the Earth Split as well. So it's very scary, and if you have a Chakram on the Elder Titan, you can have like a Stomp into another Stomp pretty much straight after the Stomp ends. So that could be a little bit scary. Like you said though, the Sven, unless you pick an Oracle up like right now as a secondary support hero, I think it's going to be very hard to enable him before he gets a BKB because of the amount of spells they can just, chuck at him.
Yeah, interested about this Brood ban. Escape opting to take that out before we even get to last picks. Is that something that Yellow Submarine have kind of been doing a little bit, or is that just covering their asses in case things go south?
I think that's some Sindan stuff right there. I mean, he has a Coddle. He has a Coddle, so, technically the Coddle could even solo lane the Brood and have a good time, but they just don't want a contested lane. That's all I can get from that knowledge. They do pick up a Medusa. Medusa is not the best here against Brood, so I guess that makes sense. The Darkseer will be the offlaner for the side of Yellow Submarines. Darkseer versus Medusa is, I would say, an even lane. Darkseer should be able to get farm, but Medusa will not really feel too much pressure from the Iron Shells, so we'll see what Escape Gaming will do. They may even just go for like this dual lane with the Void plus the Elder Titan, I imagine. And then just try and put some pressure on the Anti-Mage. They could even decide to go for a tri-lane because Anti-Mage against Medusa. Usually you would say that the Medusa is not really the best here against Anti-Mage. That's how most people feel about it. And this is where I go with the Sven pick. Maybe it is a support Sven, right?
Man, support Sven, that is such an ambitious play. He's basically just a really awesome Stormhammer. He's some armor. He's a little bit of survivability, but in that case, wouldn't you rather go with someone like an Ogre Magi that just has a much more formidable laning stage? I'm not quite sure I'm picking up what Yellow Submarine are throwing, but we will definitely see as the drafts start to complete here. Last ban coming out for Yellow Submarine. Escape looks like they're still looking at perhaps a mid, maybe a safe laner, depending on how they're going to run this Dusa.
I would say that I actually like how Yellow Submarines is thinking about the Sven putting him into support position, because the Warcry is naturally very good against the Yellow Titan, since the Yellow Titan only takes away your base armor, so everything that's like applied to you with the armor is good. So the Warcry will be an amazing tool supportively. The Stormhammer is pretty strong early on as well, so him plus the Earth Spirit should be able to create some space on the map. And as you can see, they pick up another very, very big late game-ish hero with the Storm Spirit, so the Sven is good in the laning stage, and then, you know, after the first 10 minutes as a support hero, the Sven is very, very useless, but they make up for it by having two heroes that can do a lot of work in the mid/late game, so I think the Sven is okay. It could work out, but naturally you would say that Escape Gaming, they have the more standard draft, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I worry about the Storm Spirit's ability to just survive on the mid. He's so vulnerable pre-level 6. He needs to get some decent farm. Because Dat is dead, I'm not sure the exact stats, but I know with Drow Ranger, Storm Spirit has such a higher win percent than when he's run on his own without that Drow, just because the Precision Aura does help him farm up in lane a little bit. So hopefully he's able to kind of be on his own. I have high hopes for him, but it's going to be a little bit tougher than you might expect. Now Escape going in, they've got their last pick. Their team fight combos are there. I mean, they've got the Chrono, combine that with the Elder Titan Stomp and Earth Splitter, the Stone Gaze, Coddle just going around mana leaking every which way. What's the last hero that's really going to tie this all together?
Well, they have two options. They could send the Medusa in the mid lane against the Storm Spirit, which would be very difficult for the Storm Spirit. Like, Medusa against Storm is a very easy lane for the Medusa to dominate. And then pick a safe lane up, but then they would have to play with another hero against Darkseer, and you never want to have like a melee hero against Darkseer, so I would say it's possibly going to be a mid lane, or something like a Mirana could be picked up, just more stuns. They don't have too many stuns that's actually instant on the Storm Spirit, like the Echo Stomp is a charge spell. The ultimate from the Medusa obviously takes a little bit of time to apply as well. The Chronosphere, you can dodge that as a Storm Spirit, so there's not too many stuns to actually keep him controlled apart from the Chronosphere, which is something they will rely heavily on.
Yeah, maybe even something like that Windrunner just to get a little bit more speed for yourself. That mischance is going to be nice, but oh yeah! Sorry. Favorite hero in the game now, picked up. Going to be played by Koikva.
Oh, Mid-Sky, actually.
Yeah,
so
this
yeah,
is actually a dream. Mid-Skywrath is just the tops here. I am actually taking notes right now in a Skywrath Mage journal. So, yeah, fangirl confirmed.
In your Skywrath Mage journal, okay.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's an embarrassment.
Well, it's a
to
good
my
pick.
Family.
It's a good pick though. It's amazing against the Storm Spirit. It will make him have a horrible time in the early game. It's good against the Anti-Mage before he gets the Manta Cell, and this is something that fits with Escape's draft. Like, they don't want to go late game. They're playing against Storm and Anti-Mage. This is not a draft that is meant to go past like 30 minutes without having a huge lead. So Sky as a core hero, it you know, it checks everything. Like, they missed stuns or some other way to control the Storm as well as the Anti-Mage, and now they have it. So I like it. I like it.
I love it here. I know we're not supposed to be biased, but goddamn, I'm hoping Escape are able to at least win this mid lane and prove that viability. Now, how do you feel about this support Sven going forward? Just going against all the damage Escape are going to be unleashing.
Definitely the Sven plus the Earth Spirit is probably going to be a roaming duo, I imagine, most of the time, because if the Sven is on his own trying to like create space and gank, he will not be able to do too much because level 1 Stormhammer and a couple of right clicks is not that scary. And the most thing he can get out of this map is pretty much help the Earth Spirit in the mid lane to just make sure Koikvet doesn't get that free win against the Storm, because if it's a one-on-one, naturally this guy will win this matchup very, very, very heavily.
Yeah, I mean, his mana pool is going to be the big question mark here. In fact, both mana pools are going to be pretty neat. Now, speaking of mana, we've got Cinderin on his Keeper of the Light, most likely going to be picking up that first point in mana leak. That's so hard to deal with when you're such a mana-dependent core. You've got baby mana pools like this little Sven here. Early on, the Storm Spirit is so dependent on his mana to last hit using those static remnants, so early rotations from the Coddle could mean a lot of control over the Dire Draft.
Yeah, this is a very interesting thing from this Sven as well. I actually think that they're trying to overwhelm them with Iron Shells. Like, if they get triple Iron Shell right now with a Creep Wave and then get a surprise Stormhammer in the middle of them, that could, I mean, it shouldn't get a kill, but it could get a kill, right?
Yeah, I mean, mid lane here, we've got Yapsor poking around. Still hasn't leveled up yet, but there's going to be a roll in as Kef wants to get something done. The Stomp, though, connects onto 2, and Koikva just sitting back, farming up, still has plenty of arcane bolts to spam out. Now bot lane, let's talk a little bit about what's going down here. We have Sindarin just doing his harassy thing. Picked up the point and Illuminate first. Didn't require that mana leak right away, just clearing out the waves nice and easily. And Era should get some really nice farm here.
Yeah, I believe that Cinder will just go for the Illuminate so he can contest the stack, because as you can see, the Sven will just sit in the bottom lane, help the Darkseid a little bit with his presence so the Darkseid doesn't get ganked. And at the same time, with the Illuminate, you can contest this stack, you can make sure that the Darkseid doesn't get any free levels by, you know, jungling a little bit. And it's a lot of damage. I mean, that blast hurts a lot. Blue actually needs to be careful now.
Yeah, over here there's going to be that Illuminate Blast, but the Salve channeled up just in time means the Darkseer won't be going down. Mid lane, another jump here, this time onto Koikva. He's going to be the receiver of the damage, but looks like Storm does not have the damage to go in and actually finish the job. Skywrath eats an Iron Branch tree and continues his farm. At top lane, the Anti-Mage almost went down earlier. Void landed a couple of neat little bashes on him, but he was able to heal up. Still 5 tangos at his disposal. He's survivable, but this lane's going to get real tough for Anti-Mage. He just doesn't have any supports at the ready.
Yep, there's no supports helping him because they know that they have to secure the Storm Spirit in the mid lane with the Earth Spirit. Like, if you leave the Storm Spirit mid, then any rotation from Escape Game will result in a kill. So they know that they have to just sit there with the Earth Spirit. The Sven in the bottom lane, like I said, like the Sven being here makes it so the Darkseid can get pretty much free farm, but you're trading it so, you know, Kesso, he's dominating the top lane, he's sitting on 7 last hits, he will have a good amount of farm early on as well, and if you get a lot of farm on a Void, he will win this matchup, so I'm not sure this is the best way to play around it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Yellow Submarine are looking to take this at least a little bit more late game oriented. With that Anti-Mage pickup, the Sven can eventually transition up into at least a semi-core, if not a full-on core. But they're going to need a lot of time to do that. Anti-Mage is not someone that can fight at that 10-minute mark. He wants his time alone. Now mid lane support Sven rolls in. The first blood comes out as Skywrath Mage is pummeled. Yapsor stomps up 2 heroes, but may end up losing his own life. PSM under the tower will eventually go down. Titan gets the credit for that kill. Yapsor does escape with his life. That was a little bit too close for comfort, and unfortunately Sky gives away the first blood.
Yep, and this is pretty much the game plan for Yellow Submarines. They want to secure the Storm Spirit in the mid lane. The Storm is getting equal last hits when it comes to the Sky, so he's having an okay time. And they even got a kill on the Sky, so that just makes it a lot better. If he can get level 6 before the Sky like gets a kill on him, I actually think the Storm will be able to maybe carry where they're losing on the other lanes, but the Anti-Mage, for one thing, is going to be a hero that's not relevant for a long time because he will not have a good timing on his treads, he will not have a good timing on his Battle Fury.
Oh, Void though might eventually get picked off here, does not have enough mana for that Time Walk, so easy pick up there. They're spamming out spells left and right. All it took was a couple of right clicks, and Sven actually picks up the kill for that one. Not going to give it away to the Anti-Mage.
Yep, and the 2-man melee gang squad is doing their work.
Oh, mid lane though. There should be a kill in the Storm Spirit. He doesn't have the ball lightning. That's the crucial time when you gotta gank him. And thankfully Yapsar was able to land that stomp, so Koikva is able to get something out of this lane. Now, Skywrath Mage is just such an early game power hero. He peaks very early, his lane damage is phenomenal. But how late can he really hold on, even given priority farm? I don't know if Escape are able to really take this past 35-40 minutes.
Yeah, I think definitely before the 30-minute mark is what Escape is banking on, at least like having a solid lead before that. Skywrath Mage is definitely here that can get a lot of farm if you get kills. Like, you can't really AFK farm the waves that well, so you need to rely on getting kills.
Alright, now top lane KZ once again just up against this Anti-Mage. Void is out farming everyone. 23 last hits for him. And AM just the victim of some unfortunate bashes. You know, what's AM's comeback plan? Does he just kind of try to stay in the wave, try to stay in laning phase as long as possible? Does he bail out to the jungle? Does he start participating in team fights? Because it seems like he's just getting completely zoned out by KZ right now.
Yeah, he's trying to just get as much regen as possible. He has a Ring of Regen and he will probably get the Ring of Health as well as soon as possible. And then he should be able to lane pretty well. As you can see, all he does whenever Kesu comes up is just drain all of his mana, make sure he's on 0 mana. And then if the Storm Spirit boy comes in, they can do something.
Yeah, he's going to be stuck up right now. Does not have his Time Walk available. So this is... Oh, the Mango eaten up. KZ is able to get out. Good for him. Eating up that mango, getting that vitamin C, and living to see another day. He does have to salve, so pretty expensive regen, but keeps him alive, keeps him farming, and denies Anti-Mage those crucial kills that he needs to start his snowball. Bottom lane, you've got Cinder and Era grouping up, just completely pushing out this lane. Still that 1 point into Illuminate, and just making sure this is just going to be an easy push. Era on the Dusa doing very well in terms of last hits. All of the last hit leaders are going to be on the Radiant side.
Yep, they're having a pretty good time, and especially the offlane Void. Like, if he doesn't keep on getting killed by this Earth Spirit plus Sven just jumping him, I don't know how well Yellow Submarines will have, like, after the laning stage ends, and now Kev may be a little bit in danger. If he gets bashed one... Okay, never mind. No bashes.
Now
no
mid lane, though, there's going to be the rotation in. Support Sven strikes again. Quakefa eats a fairy fire, but you cannot live up against that raw damage. It takes 3 heroes to bring him down, but it does make Storm Spirit's life a lot easier, and he's so close to that crucial level 6. The ball lightning on Storm Spirit means he's just so much more mobile, so much more free to push in the lane without worried about being locked down. And meanwhile, bottom, Era should be able to take out this tower either this creep wave or next. Top lane, though, another jump here. Keizu, this time no more mangoes, no more time walks, and one more blink forward. Anti-Mage finally secures his first kill. Really big rotations in. The Earth Spirit and the Sven have spent hardly any time in the lane. They're just walking around, helping their team secure kills, and so far, Yellow Submarine is doubling up the kill score.
Yeah, Yellow Submarines, they're doing a good job with the Sven as well as the Earth Spirit. Just they know they have to keep on getting kills so they can at least limit how much Escape can get out of the laning stage. However, that being said, Escape Gaming, they're still out farming them, like with the Void, they're still having a good time. Even the Keeper of the Light is just getting solo experience. He's stacking 2 camps at the same time, you know, efficiency from Sindan, and he will just farm this himself. So they are content with just having a greedy start where they focus more on farming, and maybe they give up a kill or 2 like here and there, but I think that's fine for them. They have the Chronosphere as well from Kesu, so as you can see, he's smoked in the mid lane, he's looking for something, and if he can find the Storm Spirit...
Up top, unfortunately, will most likely bite the dust there. We have Anti-Mage blinking back in. There's no mana for a TP. He's on just a couple of health points.
Oh,
does he actually get away from this? Yapsor eaten through the trees. There's mass pings out. The Earth Spirit, he's just so angry that he escaped. But fantastic play. Yapsor keeps his cool. Even with no mana pool, he uses his last little tango to escape to freedom.
You know, Jukes can always save the day.
Oh man, he's got to feel real good about that one. There's no Zeus, no Invoker to snipe him down. He just gets a free trip back to base, gloating all the way.
Yeah, now the Earth Spirit is also just moving into the top areas, planting down a wall, so they have some more vision of this lane, as that makes sense. You know, they want to keep on putting pressure on that lane. They want to know if anyone is trying to set up with the Void, and the Void now moves in. They know he's here, so maybe they want to make a rotation for him if the Sven comes along as well.
Alright, Void continuing that last hit, but our big leader now is the Dusa, sitting at 50. So yeah, she's had a pretty free lane. Synderen now free to rotate. Overall net worth is going to be scaling in favor of Dusa. She's now sitting on 1,000 gold. What's her first big item? Is she going to be rushing that Lincoln Sphere, or some stepping stones along the way?
It will probably be the Lincoln Sphere, just because you're playing against the Anti-Mage, especially with the Mana Void. I don't think there's any way that this Dusa will be doing anything special in the laning stage.
Here we go, big smoke gank setting it up. The smoke does pop. Sven, he's looking for something. They're pinging out. They want to go into Quake, but the Surge connects. Will be able to find anyone in time. PSM goes in. He's mana leaked up, but he did what he wanted. Attacking onto Synderen, but there's going to be the call in. Keizu coming through. He's got the Chronosphere. Who does he focus down? Sven easily picked off by Void's Club. They are going to be able to Chrono up this Storm Spirit, drop in the Skywrath ult as well. Secures the kill. He can't zip anywhere now, as he is dead. A very nice fight there for Escape. It looked like Yellow Submarine was starting off strong with the smoke gank, but they weren't able to find the targets they wanted.
Yep, and this is why Syndon loves his Coddler. You know, suddenly there's a surprise Faceless Void for you and you get a couple of kills with it.
Alright, bottom lane. I mean, Dusa's still not feeling the pressure. There's been no real gank attempt. She hasn't participated in any of these fights, and she's just getting a whole lot for her money. Now up top, Keizu continuing to bully this Anti-Mage. He's just having such a rough time. Looks like he is working towards that Battle Fury, but it's going to be slow going. At this point, we already see Anti-Mages being at least halfway there, and he's really only sitting on that ring of health.
Yeah, the Anti-Mage is actually caught up pretty nicely though, because he cleared that stack and he got a couple of kills. Now he's the top last hitter. He's having a good amount of farm as well. He's actually eclipsing the Medusa when it comes to net worth now, so he's done a good job of catching up in the meantime, whereas team has just been fighting in the mid lane and whatnot. Whereas Era, I mean, Medusa versus Anti-Mage in the laning stage, the Medusa doesn't farm as fast, and when the Anti-Mage has this battle free, he will have a very, very fun time farming, whereas the Medusa, you know, you can get a Yasha, you can get something to eclipse your farming, but you will never really be able to farm as fast as the Anti-Mage unless you get a lot of ancient stacks.
Alright, now Sven trying to get that solo experience. He has hit his level 6, but not grabbing that God Strength just yet, instead opting to max out the Stormhammer. Gotta get that armor for his team. Support Sven, lives for his allies. Now Storm Spirit here, he's picked up that Soul Ring, so still gonna be moving in towards the Bloodstone, but not a whole ton of progress. In terms of net worth, he's not exactly keeping par with the Skywrath Mage. Skywrath Mage's time to shine still in that early game. I'd like to see him grouping up with his team for a couple more rotations. There are still smokes in stock for the Radiant.
Yeah, and he has a 4-star as well, so he's definitely building to be able to just keep up the pressure on the Anti-Mage as well as the Storm Spirit. They should definitely continue just making smoke rotations and try and kill one of the two, because they can't let both of them farm. Like, you need to make sure that one of them is starved and then the other one may get a little bit of farm as a trade-off, but as long as one of them is like super underfarmed, you will be fine, because you have a Skywrath Mage who can do a lot of damage, and he's able to control both of the heroes until they have like a big support like defensive item like a BKB in the Storm or Mantis Doll on the Anti-Mage.
Alright, so looking ahead, I mean, Era still feeling absolutely no pressure. If you're Yellow Submarine right now, is that going to be a potential gank target for you, or, you know, what are you focused on? Who do you have to shut down on the side of Escape Gaming to make this easier to scale into late for the Dire?
I don't think they will actually ever rotate down to gank Medusa, because the thing is, if you're Medusa, if you get the ultimate off, it's so easy to make a counter attack and actually, you know, make the fight favorable for you when you get ganked on Medusa. And you don't really want the Medusa to be part of the fights when you're Yellow Submarine. You want to make sure that you fight 4 against 4 or 4 against 5 with the Anti-Mage joining the fight. So they're content with him just farming the bottom lane and getting the free time. That's pretty much what they have to do, having this greedy mid as well as a greedy safe laner. And as you can see, they're actually not really farming that, like, the Medusa is not farming that fast compared to having no pressure whatsoever.
Alright, now big rotation up. There was a smoke, there was Coddle using that recall to get the Skywrath Mage into the fight, but not finding any pickoffs, not really finding any fruits for their labor, as there's a big group up from Yellow Submarine. I mean, they try to counter-initiate here? Or
Hopefully not.
yeah, I mean, they're just kind of sitting back as they're letting their lanes get pushed. I mean, Yellow Submarine can afford to be a little bit passive here in this early game, as their heroes just aren't quite scaled up enough to fight. But it does seem like Escape are just kind of walking all over this Dire side of the map without being punished.
Yeah, and this is now where Yellow Submarines, they go into the position where PSM on the Sven, his impact will very quickly fall off, because, you know, Sven, he's fine in the laning stage, you know, he can shoot out a couple of stuns now and then, but beyond that, he's just a walking war cry and a stun. Like, he's not gonna do anything else until he gets something like a blast.
Oh, Yapzor, though, he's gonna fall victim to that walking stun. They might be able to get the pick off onto that Elder Titan. Will there be any rotations in from the rest of the Radiant? They are gonna be bringing in the Medusa, popping out the Stone Gaze. Sven caught between a rock and a hard place, nowhere to go here. Mystic Snake pops in, easily cleans him off. There's the Mana Burn coming in onto the Storm Spirit. Miscommunication, as the Blinding Light does allow him to get away to freedom. Now they're looking to rotate. They will get an Earth Spirit for their troubles, but they do lose out on that high prize target of the Storm Spirit, who again was Blinding Lighted out of Skywrath Mage's ulti.
Yeah, Syndon is gonna shake his head on that one, but they still make it a favorable trade. It's still a 2-for-1 trade, so it's not too bad. You know, both the Anti-Mage as well as the Medusa is just continuing to farm. So overall, Escape will slightly win that matchup, but I would still say that they're not really happy with that, honestly. They want to put more pressure than just making a 2-for-1 trade at this point in the game, because it's a Storm Anti-Mage late on in the game. Like, you need to win this early game convincingly, not just small leads in the small engagements.
Yeah, I mean, this is Escape's time to shine right now. This 15 to 25 minute window, they've got to apply a lot of pressure. They've got to continue to gank. Because, you know, on the Dire side, although the Sven's going to fall off, Storm Spirit, Anti-Mage, they're just going to grow indefinitely if you give them room. And right now, Anti-Mage has found himself a decent amount of room. Moving towards that Battle Fury, should have it in just a couple more minutes.
Yep, and even late in the game, if the Sven ever gets to pick up something like an Aghanim Scepter so he can apply the guard strength to the other heroes, you know, suddenly the what's it called? The Storm Spirit hits for like 200 damage a pop. The Anti-Mage hits for like 500. You know, that can be scary as well.
All right, Koikva, he wants to make something happen. He's moving in towards that Veil. Really nice item pick him on Skywrath Mage, as he is entirely magic damage. I mean, you do worry about the potential for heroes like Storm Spirit and Anti-Mage to pick up BKBs and negate that damage altogether.
Yep, and now you can see that Era, he's finally making a rotation with his team, so they're at the point where he's like, okay, I have my Lincoln Sphere flying out to me now, I'm ready to fight. I feel comfortable doing something useful, and now they will just try and starve out Yellow Submarines by taking a lot of towers and getting that early lead with the towers. You can see even in the mid lane at the same time they're pushing with the Yellow Titan Illusions. They will lose the tier 2, tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, as there's 4 heroes down here taking it, but if they can make it a tier 2 for tier 1 tower, that's still fine for Escape.
Yeah, the problem is this tower is so crucial in terms of overall Radiant jungle control, in terms of Roche control. So this does open the map a lot more for the Dire, and I don't think Deuce is going to be able to get anywhere close to finishing this tower before there's a Dire rotation.
Yeah, this is a little bit annoying because the creep wave was so far back from Escape Gaming, so they had to wait like a good 30 seconds before they can even start hitting the tower. They will get the tower now, as you can see. Yellow Submarines, they're not really trying to make a rotation to defend it, but at that time, you know, the Anti-Mage and the Storm Spirit, they are farming a lot on the map by just, you know, using those 30 seconds efficiently.
Alright, now TP out. That means there's no Keeper of the Light in the picture, no more mana leaks available. So I think the plan is for Era to just finish off this tower and rotate out, but will they get the chance to do so? Darkseer's here, there's going to be a rotation in from the Sven, who's going in, Warcry's up, going in, tries to stun up onto the Deuce, but the Lincoln Spear is completed. There will be some follow-up damage onto PSM. The Skywrath Mage not letting him off with a warning. Finally, one more Arcane Bolt should connect. They're looking for more. The Earth Splitter comes out. 2 are caught in that. Another fantastic stomp from Yapzor. He is on the money this game, and they're looking for another hit there. The Surge going to be wearing off eventually. One more bot from the Skywrath Mage. Not going to be enough to take out Flo just yet, but there we go. Concussive shot to seal the deal. Skywrath Mage now putting in work, applying this early game teamfight that we know he can do, and there's going to be a call in as Dusa brought away to go continue her farm in the bottom lane, so lots of pressure around the map coming out for Escape right now.
Yep, you know, Era, you've done well. You can come back and just farm again. That's pretty much what Syndon is doing. But they were fighting 4 against 5, and I'm a little bit surprised to see that Yellow Submarines went so heavily to try and pick a fight there, because they were split up, and you know, you're playing against the faces where there's Corona available. You have the Skywrath Mage, who's very much a powerhouse at this point in the game still. Like, you can't reliably take a fight even if you have more numbers against Koikra right now, because his damage output is just insane.
Alright, now Skywrath Mage going to be flying in some goodies, has that completed Veil, so his magic damage is going to be amplified even more. Do you think Yellow Submarine are going to react and go for early BKBs, or are they just going to try to weather the storm?
I think the Anti-Mage will not really get a BKB this game. That's going to be probably like a Manta style game for him. The Storm Spirit has to get a BKB after the Bloodstone, I believe.
Oh,
I don't think this is a game where you get an Orc hit or something like that.
God damn. That looks gross, dude. I hate this cosmetic for Deuce's shield.
You have a lot of hate for so many different things, man. Jesus.
Dude, Dota's a game of love and hate. You gotta divide yourself. Alright, Era pushing very far forward. His team is behind him. There's the scan revealing the rest of the Dire. Lincoln Sphere pops. There is the Stone Gaze available once that silence ends. Era gonna be looking to let that rip as Koikva fallen victim to that Anti-Mage. There we go. There's the Veil. There's gonna be that mana leak coming out, so Anti-Mage can't go too far. Stone Gaze should connect onto this Sven, and now silence up onto the Storm Spirit. He's going to be bashed in place and will be picked off by Skywrath Mage. There's a Chrono connecting onto 2 with perfect range for Era to follow up with right-click damage. Kef, unfortunately, is going to be mana drained down, can't move, can't escape. 4 heroes down. The only survivor is the Anti-Mage, who is able to blink back to his base, but he just has to watch as his tier 2 tower goes down to crumbles. Very well played there from Escape, just controlling up and hurting Yellow Submarine like sheep.
Yep, that was an interesting fight from Yellow Submarines, because the Medusa was pushing so aggressively. It should have been a pretty obvious bait, and Medusa, of all the heroes, like, even though you have an Anti-Mage and you have like heroes that can jump him, you can silence him and whatnot, he still has pretty much like effectively 2.5k HP with the mana shield, so it's not an easy hero to kill. And he was perfect bait, you know. He got jumped on. They tried to do something against him. He just juked a little bit around in the trees, and eventually everyone just ends up getting destroyed from the side of Yellow Submarines because this guy can pick off one by one, you know, he just takes one at a time, kills him, then the next one, then the next one, and with the Faceless Void, with the Chronosphere coming on the last 2 heroes, it's just a little bit too easy for Escape Gaming to take those fights.
Alright, so we've got everyone scaling up. Cinderin now with a completed Aghanim Scepter. He's definitely gotten what he wants to out of this Coddle. 20 minutes in. He's already got that going for himself. And, well, looking at the other itemization here, we've got the Dusa picking up a nice little Demon Edge here. What are we looking at with that one?
He's going for the Yasha into probably... I think he's going to keep it as a casual Demon Edge, complete the Mantis Style, and then pick up an MKB, but this is pretty much Era saying that he wants to do as much damage and as much pushing power as possible, like as fast as possible, so he's just getting efficient items, I guess you can call it. Because like we talked about, they want to end this game as early as possible. The Void now has a Vanguard on top of a Diffusal Blade. I'm a little bit interested in the Vanguard pickup, but overall, the only thing that I would like to see from Kesem more than what he already has is, you know, the Blink initiations. We don't have that yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that Time Walk, but it can only take him so far. And in terms of overall mobility, Escape are a little bit lacking. On the side of the Dire, you've got the Darkseer Surge, you've got yourself that Storm Ball Lightning, you've got the Anti-Mage Blink, so mobility and Lockdown are going to be pretty crucial here.
Yeah, they don't have Blink on anyone here in the game on the side of Escape Gaming right now. The best mobility item they have is the 4-staff on the Korikfest, so they need to scale a little bit more into those Blink items. Potentially the Sky picks up a Blink at some point. The Blink will be picked up by the Faceless Void most likely as the next item. The Diffusal Blade is just, you know, value damage, I guess, so he can be a wreck like which is, you know, his wildest dream. Just, you know, hit people, kill people in the Chrono.
Alright, Skywrath Mage exercising a lot of restraint, bumping into first the Sven, then the Darkseer, but not going to unleash his power just yet. He wants to make sure it's an assured kill and there's no backup, because Skywrath getting killed once or twice in a row now means Quaika is going to start to lose a lot of relevance moving towards the mid-game.
Yep, and now the Mantis Style is complete on the Anti-Mage, so this is the point where Yellow Submarines, they can try and take fights again. They can try and take pickoffs. They do find Cinder, and this should be a pretty easy kill to get, as he was farming a little bit far from the base, and obviously there's only so much farm on the map, so someone has to be the one, you know, farming aggressively to try and deny some farm from Yellow Submarines, and in the end, Cinder gets jumped on, he gets picked off, and I would say that Yellow Submarines, they're now ready to fight, even though they're 10,000 net worth behind with the Mantis Style and the Anti-Mage. They need to start taking small engagements and, you know, try and kill this guy, try and kill the support heroes in general, and then farm on, you know, farm.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the gold graph, it looks intimidating because, like you mentioned, there is a 10k discrepancy, but there's this plateau kind of forming where Escape haven't found a very important pickoffs in the last couple of minutes. They've been slowly and steadily pushing, but, you know, heroes like that Skywrath Mage, their team fight just starts to fall off a little bit, and I don't know if the Deuce is manly enough to take this on. We're going to have to see as she challenges the AM to a 1v1. AM backs off, and Era continues to push out the mid lane.
Yeah. The good thing that's still working out for Escape Gaming is how farm the support heroes is, because if you look at the Sven and the Earth Spirit, those two heroes, they're not getting any, like, luxury items this game, you know. Boots is pretty much the only dream they can wish for. The Sven will probably try and get a Blink as the next one, but apart from a Blink in maybe like at around the 30-minute mark, they will not get anything special this game. So it's all on the two core heroes, you know, the Storm Spirit, the Anti-Mage. How much can these two do when they're farmed? It's going to be hard, at least, because Anti-Mage is not as farmed as Seducer, and if you bank this much on an Anti-Mage pick, you need him to be the most farmed hero in the game.
I mean, I think Anti-Mage can absolutely scale up. The problem is, can he be manly enough to carry 4 heroes on his shoulders? I don't know. The Storm Spirit, yeah, I mean, he's pulling his weight. He's got his 13 Bloodstone charges. He is going to be going towards that Orchid build, not going to grab up the early BKB, so we'll see if that ends up costing him dearly. The smoke pops as they are walking right into the jaws of Escape. They go in, they get the stun onto Cinderin. They've got the vision, they've got the dust in the back lines, though. Yapstor gets a really nice crush. There's going to be 2 heroes stuck in a Chronosphere, along with the Stone Gates, everyone melting down. The Magnetize from the Earth Spirit not doing enough to keep these heroes down, and finally it looks like Flow will be forced back. Do they have the damage to get him down? They do. One brief Illuminate is going to be all it takes. Now PSM, he's scampering back to base. He's got himself 17 stick charges. So So if he absolutely needs them,
trouble.
There he goes. He eats them up, and they aren't going to be able to lock down the Sven, but still very, very nice fight from Escape. They did end up using most of their big cooldown spells, Stone Gaze, Chrono, Earth Splitter, so they don't have a whole lot if they want to push high ground here, but with Darkseer still dead, it looks like there might be a brief opening to at least harass the tier 3.
Yeah, they're feeling pretty confident about going for the push. They know that Yellow Submarines, they don't really have a lot of items to actually fight into them.
Oh, zip in. They're showing off their power there. Koikba with the Glimmer Cape, and there's not going to be any reveal coming back in. Sven, he's getting everyone ready with that war cry, but Era is still slowly but surely hammering away with that split shot, clearing out the creep wave. Stun comes in, the AoE clears out most of the creeps, but all of Escape, they're still feeling fightin' fit, even after that close brush with Death Skywrath Mage. Now back up to full health, half mana, ready to continue the pressure, and important pickup here. Era goes for the Daedalus, so you're right, it's all about that right-click power. Now there's the heal coming out from the Keeper of the Light. Koikfa in some serious trouble, is going to be silenced up, most likely picked off, but the Glimmer Cape saves his life for now. They do get the dust on him. Storm Spirit eventually picks him up. A nice stomp comes out from the Titan, and there's the Stone Gaze, forcing everyone back. Anti-Mage's got no more mana, no more life points, and he just hits the deck once again. Oh gosh, Storm Spirit, mana drain down as well. Keeper of the Light is absolutely helping out here, and the GG forced out at 26 minutes in. Escape, they went in with an early game strategy, and they executed pretty gosh darn cleanly, allowing themselves for a very early win in game number 1. Any last words?
Yeah, that Daedalus on Era, man, he did 7,000 damage in that fight. Jesus Christ, that's painful, you know. That's very painful.
Yeah, I mean, Escape are heavily the favorites to win this series in a clean 2-0. I mean, we could always get surprised. Yellow Submarine, they've got really strong individually skilled players, but it is a new roster. They're probably still working out a couple of communication issues. We'll have to see if things are going to change in game number 2. A new draft, a new outlook could definitely switch things up. So stick around here on Beyond the Summit 2. This is the English coverage of the BTS Series EU. I'm AnneeDroid, that's Mad Kings. See you guys in just a couple of minutes.